All right, we get praise. Chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures. Search the scriptures. For in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. Another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Alahym only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, to whom you trust. But had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 5. Matter of fact, make it verse 4. Proverbs 30 and 4. It says, who have ascended up into Shamahim, or descended, who have gathered the wind in his fist, who have established all the ends of the earth. What is his name? What is his son's name, if you can tell? Every word of Alahym is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. Add you not unto his words, lest he reprove you, and you be found a liar. So, hold on one moment. Let's look at that one thing he tell you, that every word of Alahym tries. But then he tells you not to add. And I just want you to see look at this and the language that is written in. I know that might be seen to be anal, but that's what we're going to do. So, of course, add is your soft, and that is the increase, or do again to be joined, to be added on to. Of course, the bar is the word. Reprove is your cock. And this is to prove, to convince, or to convict. So when you add unto his words, he will convict you as a liar, which is kazab, which is to tell a lie, or to be found a liar, or to disappoint, or to be in vain. I want you to come over here. I think it's Jeremiah chapter 32. It might be actually. Might be 23. Let me see. Let's come over here to the book of Jeremiah. From the book of Jeremiah, I want you to go to Revelation chapter 22. Oh, it was Isaiah, excuse me. Isaiah 44. Isaiah 44. Pick it up at verse 21. From there, Revelation chapter 22. And then Deuteronomy chapter 4. Because we're going to look at every location in regards to what that statement is in Proverbs chapter 30. And it says here in Isaiah 44 and 21. Remember these, O Jacob and the Yasharal, for you are my servant. I have formed you. You are my servant, O Yasharal. You shall not be forgotten of me. I have blotted out as a thick cloud your transgressions. As a cloud your sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed you. So, of course, you know that that's when Yahushua was on the stake. The cloud came over him, blotted it out, but then they returned unto him. I want you to keep that in mind, because that goes back to who is ascended to heaven, which goes back to Yahushua ascending into the Kadash in heaven to make intercession on your behalf always. Sing ye, O heavens, for you who have done it. Shout you, Lord, parts of the earth, break forth into singing, you mountains. O forest and every tree that have redeemed Jacob and esteemed itself in Yasharal. Thus saith Yahuwah your Redeemer, he that formed you from the womb. I am Yahuwah that make all things, that stretch forth the heavens alone, that spread abroad the earth by myself, that frustrate the tokens of liars and make diviners mad, that turn wise men backwards and make their knowledge foolish, that confirm the word of his servant, and that perform the counsel of his messengers. You can recall, we looked at Malachi chapter 2 in regards to when he stated that the priest's lips should keep knowledge, for he is the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. So when we sit back and you think about this, he say he performs the counsel of his messengers, but he frustrates the token of liars. Come on over here to Revelation chapter 22. Revelation 22 and 16, but you could make it 12. Matter of fact, you could make it 11. Revelation 22 and 11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is Kadash, let him be Kadash still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I'm the Aleph and the Tah, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates of the city. For without a dogs and sorcerers, whoremongers, murderers, idolaters, and whosoever love and make a lie. I, Yahushua, have sent my Malachi to testify unto you these things in the houses. I am the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. And the Ruach and the bride say, come. And let him that hears say, come. And let him that is athirst come. And whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely. For I testify unto every man that hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, Alahym shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Alahym shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the Kadash city and from the things which are written in this book. So again, we come back up and we see something. When you add to the word, he is going to convict you, and he is going to add plagues upon you. Let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy 4 and 1. That's what he tell you. Now therefore hearken, O Yasharal, to the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for you to do them, that you may live. Go in and possess the land which Ruach Alahym of your fathers give you. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahuwah Alahym, which I command you. So we just looked at 1, 2, 3, 4 witnesses about what happens when you turn add unto the word. He will convict you and judge you as a liar. No liar has a part in the city. This is very, very important. But now, with that being said and that being moved out of the way, I want you to come over here to John chapter 1. Let's continue on this crux of the things that we're looking at in this priesthood of the house of Levi, if you would. Matter of fact, don't even go to John chapter 1. Let's begin in Luke chapter 2. Let me do that. Or Luke chapter 1, I should say. Let me do that first. Luke chapter 1 and verse 1. For as much as many have taken, this is Luke 1 and 1. For as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us. Let me read that to you again. For as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us. Let's take a look at that statement where it says in order. Something came in my mind in the Hebrew language, but we need to sit back and see what it says in the Greek. So when it says to set forth in order, and it's exactly what I need, is to put together in order, arrange, or compose. And the word is antasomai. So I want you to pause. I want you to come to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. I want you to come to Ecclesiastes chapter 12. And I want you to come to verse 9 because the word for preacher is what came to mind. And of course, you know that is a coalesce, that is a collector of sentences, a preacher, a public speaker, a speaker in an assembly, a coalesce. If you don't remember the characters, it's Kuf, it is Kot, it is Lamad, and it is Tau. So you can see how the last shepherd or the last Adam has separated by the covenant because he has collected these sentences. And what does it say? Moreover, the preacher was wise. He still taught the people knowledge, and he gave good heed, and he sought out, and he set in order many proverbs. He came and he collected, and of course, that word for set in order is to come, which is to make straight or to become straight or to arrange in order. It is tau, ku, and noon, excuse me, and that is the final covenant of life. And notice you can come back over here. Well, let me read verse 10. The preacher sought out to find acceptable words. That which was written was upright, even words of truth. So as we come back to Luke, and we see that for as much as it's Luke 1:1, for as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us. Look at verse 2. Even as they had delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers or servants of the word. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all the things from the very first, to write unto you in order, most excellent Theophilus. Listen to what he said. It seemed good to him because he had a perfect understanding. Most of us don't have a perfect understanding. Paul wrote in one of his epistle letters that the understanding of Alahym surpasses all shalom. Let's continue. That you might know the certainty of those things wherein you have been instructed. Let's continue. Verse 5 of Luke chapter 1. There was a king in the days of Herod, the Malik of Yehuda, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron. So the first thing that we want to do, we want to grab who his father is. He's of the course. You look at course in the Greek, it is service, or course of priests who work for a week at a time in a priestly office. And we'll probably end up going through that because that's in the Chronicle. We're not going to get into that quite yet until we're ready to move into that. Now, Abiyah is that my Abba is Yahuwah. This is where he come from. Now, you keep that in mind. Look at verse, let me read that again. And there were days of Herod, the king of Yehuda, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia. His wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Alahym, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of Yahuwah blameless. They had no child because that Elizabeth was barren, and they were both were now well stricken in years. It came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Alahym in the order of his course. See, come over here to First Chronicles chapter 24. First Chronicle, we have to look at it. First Chronicles chapter 24 and verse 1. Let's look at that division and divide right now. We would just be we would be wrong not to do so. We just can't skip over that because it's mentioning it more than once. So we're gonna have to do it. I tried to avoid it. I don't know why I did that. First Chronicles chapter 24 and verse 1. Now these are the divisions of the sons of Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Now, divisions in the Hebrew is your division, your course, your class, your share, your allotment, or a technical term for the Levite priest organization. You have Mean, you have Kot, you have Lamad, you have Kuf, and you have Ka. But let's continue. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father and had no sons. Therefore, Eleazar and Ithamar executed the priest's office. Now, if you're not familiar with what happened to his sons, we will look at it right now. Leviticus chapter 10. Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 1. Leviticus 10:1. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer and put fire therein and put incense thereon and offered strange fire before Yahuwah, which he commanded them not. But there went out fire from Yahuwah and devoured them, and they died before Yahuwah. Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is it that Yahuwah spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come near before me, and before all the people will I be esteemed. And Aaron held his shalom. Moses called Mishael and Elazaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said unto him, Come near and carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they went near and carried them in their coats out of the camp, as Moses had said. Moses said unto Aaron, unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar his sons, Uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest you die, lest wrath come upon all the people, but let your brethren, the whole house of Yasharal, bewail the burning which Yahuwah have kindled. You shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die, for the anointing oil of Yahuwah is upon you. And they did according to the words of Moses. Matter of fact, we'll just keep on rolling with some of this information that is here. Do I want to do that? Yes, I will. And Yahuwah spake unto Aaron, saying, Do not drink wine nor strong drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, that you may put difference between Kadash and unkadash, and between unclean and clean. Notice that he told them not to drink no wine or strong drink when they go into the tabernacle of the congregation. And then you wonder why in the epistle letters it tell you not to be a drunk. When you come into the house of Yahuwah, which is the body of Mashiach, you can't come in here and be no drunkard, because you're not going to be able to make a difference between what's set apart and what's not, and what's clean and what's not. You know that from Isaiah 28, because you're drunk. And when you're drunk, you can't think straight. So you're going to make bad decisions. But back to 1 Chronicles chapter 24. Now, of course, we're going to look at and see the course of who Zechariah, John the Baptist's father, come from in the course that he worked in the temple. Now, when we look at Eleazar and Ithamar and their names, I don't want to cooperate now. And prayerfully, the internet is working better for you, because it hasn't popped up on my end that the connection will be. So pray the Lord for that. Eleazar, as Alahym has helped. So keep that in mind. Ithamar is the coast of palms. Or you can sit back and say the palm tree, which is another dealing for righteousness, but we'll deal with that at another time. Verse 3 of 1 Chronicles 24:3. David distributed them, both Zadok of the sons of Eleazar and Amalek of the sons of Ithamar, according to their offices in their service. So boom, I want you to look at David distributed. Distributed is kalak, that is divide, to share your plunder, your lot, your portion. Kat, lamad, and ku. So when you look at the division of David distributing both of the sons of Zadok of the righteousness, because Zadok is righteousness or righteous, Eleazar is Yahuwah has helped. And understand that this particular Zadok is coming from Aaron's son stock. And then of course you have Amalek, who is coming from this here, and that's my brother is a king, or a brother of Melech, or my brother is king, or brother of Melchizedek, if you want to look at it. And that particular aspect, because when you have Melchizedek, matter of fact, I'll get you the definition of Melchizedek real quickly. And of course, you have my king is Sedek, or my king is righteous, if you would. Because that's what it has. It has a Zadok in there. So my king is righteous. Now you think about that when you're dealing with what the priesthood of Melchizedek is telling you, that your king is righteous. Matter of fact, since we mentioned that the king is righteous, I'm in 1 Samuel and not 1 Chronicles. That's not going to benefit us in the least bit. Number one, I want you to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12 in regards to David distributing to the sons of Zadok and the sons of Amalek according to their offices according to their service. And then I want you to come to Hebrews chapter 2 and in the next regard about how he's righteous. Now, when we look at offices, I just want to share the word with you, and that is pakuda, and that is your oversight, your care, your charge, an overseer, a class of officers, and it's pay, and it's kuf, and it's dalet, and it's hay. So look at that there. This is someone who has oversight. They oversee things. If you recall, when Paul made that statement that he set certain men to be overseers over the congregations and the bodies, and not to allow them to allow grievous wolves which got to apply. And we might just read that on general principle. But first thing coming, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. I want you to pick that up and about verse 4. And the diversity of the priest's office will look at us and allow us to understand out the script, the diversity of the ruachs, or the diversity of services, if you will. Now, there are a diversity of gifts, but the same ruach, just like there's a diversity of works in the priesthood, but the same priesthood. Now, there are administrations, but the same Lord. The diversities of operations, but it's the same Alahym, which work all in all. But the manifestation of the Ruach is given to every man through prophet is all. For one is given by the Ruach the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Ruach, to another faith by the same Ruach, to another the gifts of healing by the same Ruach, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of Ruachs, to another diverse kinds of tongues, and to another the interpretation of tongues. But all these work at one and the self same Ruach, dividing to every man severally as he wills. Now, but looking at that as forth as David distributing, the same way that Yahushua distributes. I want you to come around. I want you to come to Hebrews 2, so you can sit back and see how your king is righteous, or your brother is a king. I want you to come to Hebrews chapter 2. I want you to pick it up at verse 14. It says, for as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is, the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. For truly he took not on him the nature of Malachim, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all these things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to Alahym, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself have suffered being tempted, he is able to succor them that are tempted. So now we see the righteousness, brother, who is king. We read that in Luke chapter 1 last week, that he would be king sitting upon the throne. We talked about that with Yahushua, son of Jehozadak, how he is priest and high priest and king sitting upon the throne, as well as sitting at Genesis 49, among other places. Let's return back to 1 Chronicles chapter 24, and we will read the completion of 1 Chronicles chapter 24 before we even get back to Luke chapter 1. But by the grace of Yahushua, we are going to be as thorough in dealing with everything pertaining to the priesthood, and the Levites as possible. 1 Chronicles chapter 24, verse 3. David distributed them, both Zadok of the sons of Eleazar and Amalek the sons of Ithamar, according to their offices in their service. Keep that in mind with Zadok, because you already know, you hear about Zadok when we read in Ezekiel, and you see that this is the Zadok that his offspring was able to have a particular position. Let's continue. And there were more chief men found of the sons of Eleazar than of the sons of Ithamar. Thus they were divided. Among the sons of Eleazar, there were 16 chief men of the house of their fathers, and 8 among the sons of Ithamar according to the house of their fathers. Thus they were divided by lot, one sort with another. For the governors of the sanctuary and the governors of the house of Alahym were the sons of Eleazar and the sons of Ithamar. Well, let's look at the governor. Governor is Sar, Shan, and Raj. That's the chieftain or the leader. These were the leaders of the sanctuary. These were the leaders of the house. The 2 direct sons or the lineage of Aaron. Make sure I ain't left none out. Let's continue. Shemaiah, the son of Nethanel, the scribe, one of the Levites, wrote them before the king and the princes, and Zadok the priest and Amalek the sons of Abathar before the chief of the fathers of the priests and the Levites, one principal household being taken for Eleazar and one taken for Ithamar. Now listen, we just talked about Shemaiah not too long ago, and I forgot a couple men. and and Ezra chapter 2, and we got to go back to that. So when we look at Shemaiah, it is that he is heard by you. So pause. Let's go back over here to Hebrews chapter 5 in regard to a priest who is heard by Yahuwah, and he's the son of a man who is a scribe, which is Nathanael, which is given of Alahym. So he is heard of Yahuwah, and he's given by Alahym. This is who his father is. We will look at those two aspects as well. First and foremost, we want Hebrew chapter 5 and verse 5. Hebrews 5 and 5. So also Mashiach esteemed not himself to be made a high priest, but he that said unto him, you are my son, today I have begotten you. As he say also in another place, you are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard and that he feared. And though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. Keep suffering in mind. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him, called of Alahym a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Now notice that Shemaiah who is heard. Remember, Yahushua cried out. He cried out because he was being done wrong. You know, my Alahym, why have you forsaken me? And Yahuwah is heard. And because he heard, he made him the author of eternal salvation to everyone that obeys him. See, everybody's not going to be able to have that. Now you look at being given to Alahym. So we know that Alahym so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that men may not perish, but to have life. See, that was in regards to what we were looking at when we were talking about Rachel, and that she had the son of my right hand and had a son who add sons, if you would. And also in that regard, Alahym is taken away the reproach, because when you look at her name, which is Rosh Kat Lamad, you see how the teachings of the highest separate, and that teaching was the offering of the son of his right hand to take away your reproach. So you can see that Alahym so loved the world that he gave his only son. Now you have to sit and you have to pay attention to that, because Yahuwah has given, he gave you his son, because he said, unto us a child is born, and the government will be on his shoulder, as it take us back to the man named whom Yahuwah bears. He bears your iniquities on his shoulder. But let's continue. First Chronicles chapter 24, and run that down before we grab some more of the men's names who we forgot in Ezra, and then complete what we're looking at in Luke. Now the first lot came forth to Yeroham, and the second to Yehadiah. Well, we can't go through all names in this minute. The third to Aram, the fourth to Sarawim, the fifth to Micaiah, the sixth to Miniamin, the seventh to Hakos, the eighth to Abiyah. So now we see where the course of Zechariah father comes in at. And he is of the seventh course. Keep that in mind. So when you sit back and you look at it, no, excuse me, the eighth course. First Chronicles 24 and 10, where you see the father of Zechariah, of John the Baptist being mentioned. He is of the eighth course. So this is the course that he worked in. Verse 9, or verse 11, excuse me. The ninth to Yahusha, the 10th to Shechaniah, the 11th to Eliashib, the 12th to Yakim, the 13th to Hupah, the 14th to Yeshibia, the 15th to Bilgad, and the 16th to Immer, the 17th to Hezir, the 18th to Aphis, the 19th to Pethiah, the 20th to Yezekel, the 1 and 20th to Yachin, the 22nd to Gamul, the 23rd to Deliah, and the 24th to Mizaiah. These were the orderings of them in service to come into the house of Yahuwah according to their manner under Aaron their father, as Yahuwah Alahym of Yasharal have commanded them. So when we look at the orderings, we just went over that. That's the Duka Abador, you know, his service according to the manner, which is Mishpat, or according to the judgment that was given unto Aaron, that they might come forth and do their duty. And we do not, well, we could finish out the chapter because we're pretty much at the end. Verse 20, and the rest of the sons of Levi were these, the sons of Amram, Shubal, of the sons of Shubal, Yehadiah, concerning Rabiah, of the sons of Rabiah, the first was Ishiah, of the Israelites, Shalomoth, and of the sons of Shalomoth, Yahath, And of the sons of Hebron, Uriah the first, Amariah the second, Jezahiel the third, Yekamin the fourth. Of the sons of Uzziah, Micaiah. Of the sons of Micaiah, Shamir. The brother of Micaiah was Ishiah, and of the sons of Ishiah, Zechariah. The sons of Moriah was Malil and Mushi. Shalom, man. The sons of Uzziah was Beno. The sons of Moriah by Uzziah, Beno, and Shoham, and Zakur, and Ibri. And of Mali came Eleazar, who had no sons. Concerning Kish, the sons of Kish was Jeremiel. The sons of Mushai, Malai, Edar, and Yeremoth. These were the sons of the Levites after the house of their fathers. These likewise cast lots over against their brethren, the sons of Aaron, in the presence of David the king, and Zadok and Amalek, and the chief of the fathers of the priests and Levites, even the principal fathers, over against their younger brethren. So again, we see that John the Baptist's father is of the 10th course, according to verse 10 of First Chronicles chapter 24, excuse me, of the 8th course. This is the line that he come from. Let's come back over here to Ezra chapter 2. Matter of fact, let's wait on that and let's go back to Luke. I can work that in a different fashion. We're in Luke chapter 1, and we're in verse 5. I said, because we had to do it. It wasn't going to be nowhere around that. Now you have an understanding of why it mentions that. I'll read verse 5 again, and Luke 1 and 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Yehuda, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia. So you know that he was of the 8th course. And his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Alahym, walking in all the commandments and orders of Yahuwah blameless. They had no child, that Elizabeth, because that Elizabeth was barren, and both were well stricken in years. It came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Alahym in the order of his courts. So from here on, you should know this. Listen to what it says. According to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Yahuwah. And you just heard at the conclusion of First Chronicles chapter 24 of how they cast lots. I'm going to read that to you again. Right down here in verse 31. These likewise cast lots over against their brethren, the sons of Aaron, in the presence of David the king, Zadok, Amalek, the chief of the fathers, and the priests of Levites, even the principal fathers, over against their younger brethren. So now you understand why that says that. You know what it's referring to. You know why it was done. Verse 10, and the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him a Malachim who was standing on the right side of the altar of incense. When Zechariah saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. And Malachim said unto him, Fear not, Zechariah, for your prayer is heard. And your wife Elizabeth shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name John. And you shall have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahuwah, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. He shall be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, even from his mother's womb. Now I will do this again for those who don't know what that means about not drinking wine or strong drink. You just seen what we read in the law in Leviticus that he say anybody, because this man is of the sons of Aaron. See, let's go back. Go back. Leviticus chapter 10. Let's go back. Look at you. Praise Alahym in the name of Yahushua. Why we had to stop back and read that. Now let's read this again in verse 8. So we've established that John is not only a Levite, he is of the line of Aaron. He comes from the line of the high priest. Keep this in mind. Yahuwah spake unto Aaron, saying, Do not drink wine nor strong drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. Now, it will be a statute forever throughout your generations. So it would only make sense that if Yahushua is the sanctuary, or the tabernacle of the congregation, or the house of the gathering, or the body, if you would, because he is the temple, as he said, his body is the temple, according to what you call it, John chapter 2, that would make sense. That was somebody they were told not to not live outside of the tent, according to the Father, and Yahuwah bless them in that regard. I believe that's who you might be referring to. If not, let me know. So Let's go to Numbers chapter 6, and let's look at who he is in this regard. Numbers chapter 6. From Numbers chapter 6, we'll go to 1 Samuel chapter 1. Numbers chapter 6 and 1 wood. Numbers chapter 6. I'll get around there eventually. Number 6 and 1. Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the sons of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, and separate themselves unto Yahuwah. Now, see, we're reading this for a reason. Not because necessarily that John the Baptist was a Nazarite, because John the Baptist was of the priesthood of Aaron. Because he was the priesthood of Aaron, he could not enter into the tabernacle of the congregation drinking wine or strong drink. See, it's commonly thought amongst many of our people that he was a Nazarite in that regard, and that's why we read it. See, we grabbing Samuel for a different reason, because Samuel was a Levite, and he was separated from Yahuwah from the womb. But that's why we read Leviticus, so you can look and you can see the difference. Because you see in Leviticus, the sons of Aaron are commanded not to do this. We have clearly ascertained that John the Baptist is of the line of Aaron. He is of the line of the high priest, and that is undeniable. Because we see that Zechariah, his father, is the son of Abiah, and he worked in the course of Abiah. And in the course of Abiah, we've seen clearly from 1 Chronicles chapter 24, according to the genealogy, that Abiah is a son of the sons of Aaron, meaning that John the Baptist is a son of the son of Aaron. So therefore, this is why he is told from birth that he will not drink wine or strong drink. Not because he was a Nazarite necessarily. But let's continue. He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. All the days of his separation he shall eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even unto the husk. All the days of his vow, of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the day be fulfilled, which he separate himself unto Yahuwah, and he shall be Kadash, and shall let the locks of his head grow. See, we're not going to go look at Samson, because see, you could be of any tribe and be a Nazarite. Why did I say we're not looking at Samson? Samson was from the tribe of Dan. So therefore, not drinking wine or strong drink in that regard had nothing to do with what was commanded to the sons of Aaron to do. Because you see that for yourself in Leviticus chapter 10, what the sons of Aaron were commanded to do. I want you to return over here to 1 Samuel chapter 1, or go to 1 Samuel chapter 1, I should say. 1 Samuel chapter 1 and 1, and from that, get you 1 Chronicles chapter 6, and probably about verse 30. Make it verse 31. And this is something that me and Will were just discussing this not too long ago, because he asked about this here, and I can see how an individual get stumped on this, or be confused, not as necessarily say stumped. I never thought about it because I just gave natural thought process based on where Samuel worked. Oh, praise the Lord, praise him. That he was a Levite, but I could see where the confusion can come in at. He said, now there was a certain man of Ramathaim Mezophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Yeroram, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite. Now I want you to come over here to 1 Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 31. And Yahuwah willing, and if you look at the beginning of this chapter, of course, we started the other day, these are the sons of Levi. But Yahuwah willing, the course that's mentioned right here, y'all willing, if we don't get it this week, we'll certainly do it next. 1 Chronicles 6 and 31. And these are they whom David set over the service of song in the house of Yahuwah. After that, the ark had rest. So when we look at over the service of song, the word is shir, word sure, that you should be familiar with. And this is a song, a religious song, a song of Levitical choirs. It is Shan, Yad, and Rosh. So you can sit back and you can take that and look at it how you would. But while you're thinking about that, I want you to come over here to Colossians chapter 3, real quick, like before we swing back to First Chronicles chapter 6 and finish what we're looking at in what you call that? First Samuel. So we can get back to Luke, so I can get back to what came to my mind earlier today, because that's how we're gonna end our session this evening. But nevertheless, I want you to look at Colossians 3 and 12, I guess. I don't really want to start like that, but listen, here we go. Colossians 3 and 12. Put on, therefore, as the elect of Alahym, Kadash and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering, forbearing one another, forgiving one another. And if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Mashiach gave you, so also do you. Now, we had talked about that not too long ago. There's quarrels, because the book tells you that offenses may come. So you can't walk around. You have to, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier today, you have to forgive people. It's the same way as Yahushua forgave you. So we looked at that he was a faithful and merciful high priest, and pertaining to reconciliation to the things of Alahym, and how he blotted out your transgressions with a dark cloud. You have to be able to do the same thing and conduct yourself with a person as if that offense never occurred. If true forgiveness has been allotted, that's how you have to operate. When we talk about operating on the godly level, are we operating on a carnal level, or are we operating on a godly level? Because he told you to put that on. We just talked about last week, to be specific, about putting on. Let's continue. And above all these things, put on love, which is the bond of perfectness. And let the shalom of Alahym rule in your hearts, to the all in one body, and be you thankful. And let the word of Mashiach dwell in you richly. Notice what he said. Let that word dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. Now you see why David has turned around and appointed these men over the service of the song once the ark has come to rest. Pause. Come over here to Matthew chapter 26. And we'll show you the same token. Yahushua showing you how he was over a song or two. Now how he made melody in his heart that brought forth joy and the things of that nature. See, praise Alahym in the name of Yahushua for the word. See, we just want a little bit of understanding. You get a little bit of understanding, it should make your service to Yahuwah a whole lot easier. Because you understand and you know. I'm in the right spot. 26 and 26. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks, and he gave it to them, saying, drink you all of it. This is the blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Abba's kingdom. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. So now they done sung a song of praise to Alahym. In the midst, he's telling them that they are partaking in his death. Let's come back over here to First Chronicles chapter 6, because you know they set over the service of song of the house of Yahuwah after the ark had rest. You have to realize on the spiritual aspect, the minute he had drunk that cup and ate that bread, he done took his rest. Well, let's look at verse 32 of First Chronicles chapter 6. Still holding First Samuel chapter 1. And they ministered before the dwelling place of the tabernacle of the congregation with singing, as you see that they ministered before the dwelling place, with the apostles being with them with singing, until Solomon had built the house of Yahuwah in Jerusalem, and then they waited on their office according to their order. These are they that waited with their sons, of the sons of the Kohathites, Heman, a singer, the son of Joel, the son of Shemuel, the son of Elkanah, the son of Joram, the son of Eliel, the son of Toah. So now we see the son of Elkanah, which is Alahym has possessed, or Alahym has created. He was the son of Jeroham, which is showing pity. So not only that, but Yahuwah shows mercy. So you have Elkanah, who is Alahym has possessed and created, or Alahym has created and showed pity. And he is the son of Eliel, and Eliel is my Alahym is Alahym, or Yahuwah is Alahym if you want to look at it, but it's Alahym is Alahym. Well, and you should know that means Torah, which is lowly. Now we've seen that. Should we finish that out? I don't think that that's necessary at this particular time. We just needed to verify who his daddy was and what line he's from, and so on and so forth. 1 Samuel chapter 1. Because we're talking about the Levites and the priesthood. So you're going to read about a lot of people who you may not know who they are. And they will not go into great detail about every one of these men, and you have to understand that. 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 1. Now there was a certain man of Ramoth Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite. And he had two wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peniah. And Peniah had sons, but Hannah had no sons. This man went up out of his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto Yahuwah of hosts in Shiloh, and the two sons, Eli and Hophni, and Phinehas, the priest of Yahuwah, was there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peniah his wife and to all her sons and her daughters and portions. And unto Hannah gave he a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah. Yahuwah had shut up her womb, and her adversary also perverted her sore to make her fret, because Yahuwah had shut up her womb. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of Yahuwah, so she provoked her, therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah her husband to Hannah, why weep you? Why eat you not? Why is your heart grieved? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drank, and Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of Yahuwah. Now notice here the key thing you're looking at is, he was trying to tell her, it's not my love for you better than 10 sons, but you have to understand a woman felt like she was worthless. She did not give her husband any sons. That doesn't mean that she was worthless, but that's just the thought process of women during that time period. That they wanted to make sure that they gave their husband a son to be able to keep his line going. That's how they seen it. See, a lot of y'all, it's a different dispensation of time, so it's a different thinking. You're not really that invested in what your husband is, what you give him, what you do for him, what you assisting him in. That's not very important to you because you're concerned with yourself. When you look at all of these righteous women in this text, they were all concerned with their husband. I don't care which one you look at. You look at Rachel, she was concerned with her husband. You look at Leah, she was concerned with her husband. You look at Sarah, she was concerned with her husband. Sarah was so concerned with it, she was a failure to Abraham, that that's why she gave him Hagar. You know what I'm saying? Now, Hannah already feel like she ain't doing what she's supposed to be doing, and it didn't make any better that the other woman provoked her in this fashion. It's just a different mindset. That's why it says that you should not do this with any amazement. If you profess to be a daughter of Sarah, you will conduct yourself as the women in the old time conducted themselves, and put to the side the pride, the selfishness, and the vanity of which women of this particular generation conduct themselves. Because nobody is worshiping at the altar of a woman's vagina who serves Yahuwah. That's not going to happen. You have to understand that the world has lied to you. And everything that you've been taught to think how a man is supposed to move in regards towards you is a bold-faced lie for the most part. And what you're supposed to do towards him is a lie. You know what I'm saying? If it is not in accordance to what Yahuwah has prescribed from the foundation of the world. Verse 10, and she was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto Yahuwah and wept sore. She bowed about and said, O Yahuwah of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your handmaid and remember me, forget not your handmaid, but will give unto your handmaid a man-child, and I will give unto him, unto Yahuwah, all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. And it came to pass, and she continued praying before Yahuwah, that Eli marked her mouth. So now you see that she sat back and said, I'll make him a Nazarite and separate him unto you and give him to you. And of course, you know that Samuel served Yahuwah in the priest's office forever, if you would, for the duration of his life. I want you to come over here to chapter 2 because we can't spend too much time on that. And we are already a good 50 minutes in. There's a particular verse that's in my head. I'm trying to recall where what it is that I need. It is. Here it is. Verse 35, if you would. Chapter 2. Listen to what it says. I will raise me up a faithful priest that shall do according to that which is in my heart and in my mind, and he will build me a sure house, and he shall walk before my anointed forever. This is what Yahuwah prophesied in regards to Eli when he told him he was going to kill his sons, that he would raise up a faithful priest that would do according to what was in his heart and in his mind, and that he would build a sure house. I want you to come back to Luke chapter 1, and let's get to what we need to get to. Let's finish this out. So the main crux of what we came to Luke chapter 1 to begin with is here. But of course, you see, we have to look at a lot of things. But praise Alahym for everything. We're going to be done in Luke chapter 1. I'm going to read verse 14 again. Or verse 15 again. He shall be great in the sight of Yahuwah and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. He shall be filled with the Ruach HaKadosh, even from his mother's womb. And many of the sons of Yasharal shall he turn to Yahuwah Alahym. And he shall go before him in the Ruach and power of Elijah to turn the hearts of the fathers to the sons and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people to turn the disobedient to the wisdom of the just. Now let's come over here to John chapter 1. Or turn the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous. We will pick this up in John chapter 1, verse 19. It says, this is the record of John when the Yahudim sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, who are you? He confessed and denied not, but confessed, I'm not the Mashiach. And they asked him, what then? Are you Elijah? And he said, I'm not. Are you that prophet? He answered, no. Then said they unto him, who are you? That we may give him an answer. That we may give an answer to them that sent us. What say you of yourself? He said, I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness, make straight the way of Yahuwah, as said the prophet Isaiah. Come over here to Isaiah 40. I know some of you know where it's at, but it's for those who don't. Isaiah 40 and 1. I'm going to go a little over the time, so bear with me. Listen to what it says. Comfort you, my people, saith your Alahym. The word for comfort here is nakam, is to be sorry, to console oneself, to repent, to regret, to be comforted, to be sorry, to have compassion. Noon, ka, and mean. Go ahead and be separated to that seed of life. Go ahead and be separated to that seed of life. And when I say life, ruach because of water. Let's continue. Speak you comfortably to Jerusalem and cry unto her that when warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she had received of Yahuwah double for all her sins. So you can see why he was out there telling the people to repent, because he was trying to comfort them. But let's continue. The voice of him that cried in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of Yahuwah, make straight in the desert a highway for our Alahym. Of course, we know what the desert will take us to the wilderness, which is take us in sin, which would take us back to when we were looking at Zerubbabel and Yahusha, which is a seed was sown in confusion, but Yahuwah has saved. So go ahead and let's make a straight path in the midst of sin. But let's continue. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of Yahuwah have spoken it. Let's continue back over here to John chapter 1, verse 24. And they which were sent were of the Pharisees. And when they asked him and said unto him, why you immerse you then? If you be not the Mashiach, nor Elijah, neither that prophet. John answered, saying, I immerse with water, but there stand one among you whom you know not. Who he it is who coming after me is preferred before me, whose shoe latchet I am not worthy to unloose. These things were done in Bethbara, beyond Jordan, where John was immersing. The next day, John saw Yahusha coming unto him and said, behold, the Lamb of Alahym, who take away the sin of the world. This is he whom I said, after me had come a man, which is preferred before me. For he was before me, and I knew him not, but that he should be made manifest to Yasharal. Therefore am I immersing with water. Of course, you know that he came with the baptism of repentance. But notice he said that this man came before him, and he's preferred before him. I want you to come to Malachi chapter 3, because, of course, Malachi chapter 3 is about John the Baptist, and we discussed that briefly. And we're about to get ready to wrap this up, to sit back and show you the transfer in the relationship between Yahushua and Yakanan the Immerser. But let's continue. Malachi chapter 3 in verse 1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare a way before me, and the Lord whom you seek shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant whom you delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith Yahuwah of hosts. But who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appear? For he is like a refiner's fire and a fuller's soul. He shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi, and shall purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahuwah an offering and righteousness. Now, notice how he says that there'll be a messenger that will come and make that path straight, or prepare a way before him. This is the person whom you seek, because we already know in John chapter 1 that there were people looking for Yahushua. You notice how the scribes and Pharisees were asking, are you the Mashiach? Are you that prophet? Because they were on the lookout. You should recall that from what's written in Daniel chapter 9, that they knew the time period from when Daniel gave that prophecy, was given that prophecy, and that temple was rebuilt, that the anointed one was soon to appear. And they understood this and knew this. But I want you to come to Galatians chapter 3. I want you to come to Galatians chapter 3. You can look at verse 19. And now we've talked about this Galatians 3, how many times that it has been used out of context in regards to what it states. We're going to look at it one more time. And then we'll go back to Hebrews chapter 7 one more time. Galatians 3 and 19. Wherefore then served Torah was added because of transgression, till the seed should come, to whom the promise was made, and it was ordained by Malachim in the hands of a mediator. Paul, so you can see why that is stated. I want you to come to Isaiah chapter 64. From Isaiah chapter 64, possibly Deuteronomy chapter 5. But let me see if I want Deuteronomy 5. You can definitely go to Isaiah 64 and about verse 6. Deuteronomy 5 right now. Isaiah 64 and 64. Oh, that's 63, not 64. My correction. 63 and 7. Isaiah 63 and 7. I will mention the loving kindness of Yahuwah and the praises of Yahuwah, according to all that Yahuwah bestowed upon us, and the great goodness towards the house of Yasharal, which he hath bestowed on them, according to his mercies, and according to the multitude of his loving kindness. For he says, surely they are my people, sons that will not lie, so he was their savior. All their affliction he was afflicted, and the Malachim of his presence saved them. And in his love and in his pity he redeemed them and bared them and carried them all the days of old. And they rebelled and vexed his Ruach HaKadosh. Therefore he was turned to be their enemy, and he fought against them. And then he remembered the days of old, Moses and his people, saying, where is he that brought them up out of the sea with the shepherd of his flock? Where is he that put his Ruach HaKadosh within him? Now notice what he said. And he said that he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. Because another tells you that. Matter of fact, I think that's in Acts chapter 7. Let's go to Acts chapter 7, because that might have what I had in mind in the first place. But Isaiah 63 was good enough in the same token. don't think Acts 7 got what I want. We still holding Hebrews chapter 7. Acts 7 is what I want. There we go. 7 and 47. 7 and 47. But Solomon built him a house. This is Acts 7:47. Howbeit the Most High dwell not in temples made with hands, that say the prophet, heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. What house will you build me, saith Yahuwah, or what is the place of my rest? Have not my hand made all these things? You stiff-necked and uncircumcised in hearts, you do always resist the Ruach HaKadosh as your fathers did, so do you. That's what you just seen in Isaiah. Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? They have slain them, which showed before the coming of the just one, of whom you have been now the betrayers and murderers, leave Torah by dispensation of Malachim and have not kept it. Now, why do we look at this here? Because the same way that the Malachim showed itself in the bush to Moses, which is what with Deuteronomy 5, what I was going to grab, so I should have went ahead and grabbed it, but it's all good. He said, you received it by Malachim, but you ain't listened to it. That's why we're reading that, because what's in Galatians? Come back to Galatians chapter 3. Because the promises made were ordained by Malachim in the hand of a mediator, that mediator being Moses. Come on back to Galatians 3 and 20. Now, a mediator is not a mediator of one, but Alahym is one. Is the Torah then against the promises of Alahym? Alahym forbid. For if there had been Torah given which could have given life, truly righteousness should have been by Torah. But the scripture hath concluded all understand that the promise by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach might be given to them that believe. But before faith came, we were kept under Torah and shut up unto the faith which should afterwards be revealed. Wherefore the Torah was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Mashiach, that we might be justified by faith. But after the faith is come, you're no longer under a schoolmaster, for you are the sons of Alahym by faith in Mashiach Yahushua. For as many of you have been immersed into Mashiach, have put on Mashiach. There is neither Yahudim nor Greek, there's neither bond nor free, there's neither male nor female, for you are all of one in Mashiach Yahushua. And if you be Mashiach's, then you're Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Now, you know, a lot of people take that Galatians, see, that's the Levitical priesthood. He was telling you the law was to show that you were kept under that until faith was revealed. Remember what Yahushua said, that the law and the prophets will till John, and now the kingdom of Shamaim is preached. Well, you can already see that, because we see John is of the house of Abijah, who is the house of Eleazar, who is of the house of Aaron. So when we look at Aaron, when we look at John the Baptist, we see John the Baptist is representative of that schoolmaster, because faith would shut up. Now, when he say, boom, here's the Lamb of Alahym, I ain't know who it was until this particular juncture. Now faith has been revealed. See, let's get that Matthew 11 real quick before I go to Hebrews chapter 7. Matthew 11 and verse 7. Praise Alahym in the name of Yahushua for the word. Let's look at it though. And as they departed, Yahushua began to say to the multitudes concerning John, what went you out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what went you out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. But what went you out for to see? A prophet? I say unto you, and more than a prophet. For this is he of whom it was written, behold, I send my messenger before your face, which shall prepare your way before you. That takes us back to Malachi. Truly I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he is the least. He that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. As we read what Stephen said to the people. For all the prophets in Torah prophesied until John, because you were kept unto the law. The faith would shut up. John the Baptist would be representative, if you would, of the schoolmaster, or representative of the Levitical priesthood, if you want to look at it in that fashion. Hebrews 7 and 11. Matter of fact, 7 and 11 is fine. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should arise after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron? Well, we see clear as day that John the Baptist was after the order of Aaron. But he said, he that come after me is preferred before me because he was before me. Well, we already know before there was a Levitical priesthood, there was a priesthood of Melchizedek, or my brother is king, or my brother is righteous. We've seen that in the names of those men that we looked at earlier. So if Aaron, so when you see John the Baptist, matter of fact, come over here to John chapter 3. Let me finish Hebrews 7. Let me get on off of here too while I'm thinking about it. Verse 12, for the priesthood being changed, also made a necessity, a change also of Torah. He whom these things are spoken pertain to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar, for it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Yehuda, which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. And yet it is far more evident, for after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arise another priest, who was made not after Torah of carnal commandment, but after the power of endless life. For he testified, you are a priest after the order of Melchizedek. For there is a very truly a disannulling of the commandment, going before the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. The Torah made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did, by which we draw nigh to Alahym. And we already read the proclamation that John the Baptist made, is here is the Lamb of Alahym, which take away the sins of the world. So if the sins of the world are taken away, he was telling you that this is a priesthood that is after life and not death. But see, we don't pay attention to that. But I want you to come over here. What I mentioned, it escaped my brain. Just that. Oh, you know, you were willing to come right back to mind. John chapter 3, praise Alahym. So John chapter 3, probably about verse 27. Matter of fact, make it 22. I run it all the way down. John 3 and 22. John 3 and 22. After these things came Yahusha and his disciples into the land of Yehuda, and there he carried with them and immersed. John also was immersing in Enon near to Salem, because there was much water there, and they came and were immersed. For John was not yet cast into prison. There arose question between some of John's disciples and the Yahudim about purifying. They came unto John and said unto him, Rabbi, he that was with you beyond Jordan, to whom you bear witness, behold, the same immersed, and all men come to him. John answered and said, a man can receive nothing except it be given him from heaven. You yourselves bear me witness that I said, I am not the Mashiach, but I am sent before him. He that have the bride is the bridegroom. But the friend of the bridegroom would stand and hear him rejoice greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This is my joy, therefore is fulfilled. He must increase, I must decrease. So what do we see that? We had to see the Levitical hood decrease in order for the priesthood of Melchizedek to increase, because John was baptizing unto repentance. Yahusha was baptizing unto Ruach HaKodesh. See, you could repent, but you still wouldn't get life. So that particular priesthood had to decrease in order for everlasting life to increase. But let's continue. He that come from above is above all. He that is of the earth is earthy, and speak of the earth. He that come from heaven is above all. And what he have seen and heard, that he testify, and no man receive his testimony. He that have received his testimony hath set to his seal that Alahym is true. For he whom Alahym sent speak the words of Alahym, for Alahym give not the Ruach I measure unto him. I beloved the Son, and have given all things into his hand. He that believe on the Son have everlasting life. He that believe not on the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Alahym abide on him. This is why we can see the unprofitableness thereof, of the priesthood that was to come. So that's why we see the importance of the correlation of John the Baptist and Yahushua HaMashiach, because you see John the Baptist is representative of the priesthood of Aaron, and Yahushua is representative of the priesthood of Melchizedek. He came and functioned in that order. Because why did he function in that order? Because he had to, because that's the line that he came from. But when the line that was who he stated was before him and is preferred before him, because it's a priesthood of everlasting life, because it's an oath and commandment of Alahym, which cannot be reversed, he was very well inclined to decrease because his joy had been made full, because those that were made low would be lifted up. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We'll start right there. Yahuwah willing, we'll pick it up on the Shabbat. Yah willing, understood all these things and the differences thereof. Most High willing, we'll continue down the course of what we're traveling down. I didn't get to that Ezra 2, but Yahuwah willing, I will on the Shabbat. Because like I said, we're going to go through Levi. And we're going to look at everything that we're going to look at and see the differences between the two priesthoods. You just seen the difference between the two priesthoods. You understand where John the Baptist came from. You understand who his daddy was and who his daddy's was. You can understand why he was commanded not to drink wine and strong drink, because he going before to serve before the tabernacle of the congregation. So he can't enter in unto that. He can't enter in unto that. Because see, the difference here is of what you're looking at. The reason why I mentioned that, go read that about Samson. I'll read it to you myself. See, they told about that Samson when they told him don't give him no wine and strong drink, not to cut his hair. You seen the same thing that Hannah said about Samuel, that she wouldn't put no razor on his head. That wasn't mentioned about John. That wasn't mentioned about John. You got to ask yourself, why was that omitted? By the grace of Yahushua, we know why it was omitted. You look here in Judges chapter 13, says right there, now beware, I pray you, drink not wine nor strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. You'll conceive, this is 13 and 4 that I'm reading from. Now I'm in verse 5. She'll conceive and bear a son, and won't no razor come on his head. He'll be a Nazarite unto the womb. You've seen that Hannah promised to make Samuel a Nazarite from the womb. But when you see the Malachim Gabriel speak to Elizabeth, speak to Zechariah, he told him straight up and down, yo, your son ain't gonna drink no wine nor no strong drink. And he gonna be filled with the Ruach from the womb, because he's the son of Aaron. And he can't come before the tabernacle of the congregation on no wine, on no strong drink. Can't do it. See, praise Alahym in the name of Yahushua. The whole book, it's the same word. And those who know not the law are cursed. Because then we see this stuff, people like the New Testament fake and this, that, and the third. Niggas just don't know the book. That's all it is. Because they can't even see the subtle nuance to gain an understanding that, dang, this man really walked out the whole law with any and everybody in this gospel. Ask yourself, why does John the Baptist got to be of the sons of Aaron? Why he ain't drinking no wine or strong drink? The pop-out answer is Nazarite. Instead of us just paying attention and looking at the text, and the text telling us plainly, so we can believe just what John the Baptist stated, that whoever believes on the name of the son of Alahym have everlasting life. And who doesn't, the wrath of Alahym abide on his head. Because while you still vibe with the Levitical priesthood, the wrath of Alahym is on your head, because that priesthood cannot produce life. But the priesthood of Melchizedek is of an endless commandment, which means the same with Alahym. No beginning of days, nor end of days, just continual life. But again, praise Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. Bless y'all out the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. Remember that on Sunday, we'll be observing Pentecost. So we'll take off at 1:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. Recall to make sure you have yourself prepared, because you have 2 Sabbaths back to back, because you have your weekly Sabbath, and then you got the Sabbath for Pentecost. So you need to make sure that you prepare yourself for the next 48 hours in that regard. Service times do not change. 9 o'clock, y'all willing, on Shabbat. 2:30 to between 2:30 and 3 o'clock Shabbat afternoon. And then Yahuwah willing, 1:30 on Sunday. Shalom, and with that being said, again, blessed be you at the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua, and Yahuwah willing, to the next time.